the course of true love never did run smooth. Amidst the night.
Hello and welcome to the show. Colourful conversations with Clergyman Pete and Businessman Mark. This week we debate Love Island. Is it a moral desert? Well, yes, this season's TV feast is Love Island. Millions of people have tuned in to watch groups of contestants from the public all being isolated on an island in Mallorca. And the idea being is to survive the villa, you have to be coupled with another islander. It's not just for love, it could be for friendship and indeed even money. Yes, big bucks. Well, is it morally correct that we're getting this idea of having television to exploit the idea of love? Well, with me today is Clergyman Pete. Well, I know that maybe this isn't perhaps one of your first ideas of entertainment, Clergyman Pete, but tell me, are we seeing a trend here where this exploitation, this sensationalist idea of exploiting love for just entertainment is a good idea? What is happening to our world?
Well, you can tell my view on this, although I'm going to, of course, feel free to comment on this show and have strong opinions. I have never seen it. Oh. And in fact, I'd only vaguely heard of it when this was suggested as a topic for the show. But the broader cultural concerns that surround this show, I'm very much in favour with. It's the idea of sexual relationships. As you say, they could be other relationships, but the idea of sexual relationships are at the heart of this show. Them being a form of entertainment, either for others watching or for the people themselves, has long been a part of culture and also been frowned upon by people who know better. All the major religions would think that. But having not just the act itself, a sexual act, but sexual relationships being a commodity, that is, I think, something new. The actual relationship, proper relationship being a commodity. Not that you sell yourself for money, but that seeing and knowing of the relationship is the commodity from the outside. That is something new and rather worrying, I think. Where are we going now as a society?
Well, let me just sort of bring you up to date, because I know that you will be you'll be kicking yourself if you didn't know the outcome of this, because the rest of the world does know, and that is that Danny Dyer and Jack Fincham were crowned champions. Yes, now they each earned £25,000 in prize money. Now, whilst of course this is something that is one bonus, they have actually declared that they have fallen in love, in fact, and that they are suitable partners. In fact, they've even gone as far as to say that they're going to get married.
Did you say Danny Dyer? Isn't he?
Yes.
An actor?
Yeah. No. That's the daughter of. Oh, yes.
Okay. There you go.
Now you see. Come on, you're holding back here. Come on. This is Danny Dani. Yes, his daughter. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
For our international listeners, we were talking about Danny Dyer, who is in fact a TV actor in EastEnders and an outspoken person on many political matters as well. But anyway, more importantly is that this particular show has remarkably actually got a televisual feast. In fact, just to sort of show you one of the peaks, it reached over 4 million viewers on one particular episode, beating the terrestrial channels such as BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, and this was actually on ITV2, and that's quite unusual for one of the smaller channels to have such a large viewing. But perhaps what's even more important is that while some people clearly like it, it has sparked many complaints. In fact, many people felt that when Dyer burst into tears on the TV and actually was videoed on the Love Island beach hut, this is where they actually talk about their relationships, it was seemed to be misrepresenting some of the footage that he saw with her potential partner. In fact, some of the scenes sparked more than 2,600 complaints to TV Ofcom, as many thought that, as I said, it was inappropriate. So, ironically, there are a lot of people who seem to like this sort of sensational TV show, but actually, that is a sizable amount of people who feel that actually it's just exploitative. And I think this is the thing that, are we actually falling out of love with love? Maybe that actually we're going so deep that the media now has to fall to this base level to just try and get any kind of viewers. What's your thoughts in terms of the exploitation factor?
Well, I think there is something we're falling out of love with, and that is television. I mean, television, as it's commonly been thought of, broadcast television, isn't so popular. I mean, the way that you would find the new sort of television, as in video consumption using YouTube and Facebook and Periscope and that sort of thing, if something is recorded, you have high quality presentation, very good. But if it's live, you want to see it being interactive, and you want to have people with that sort of ironic, but it's still professional, but an ironic, self-aware sort of personality that you would get classically as the YouTuber. Whereas you're even this sort of lowbrow, you might call it, TV. I think is on its way out, and so the only way to do it is to get it more and more shocking and salacious. I don't think people are falling out of love with love. I think the fact that this is where they turn to shows, in fact, rather the opposite. The fascination for love is there. The question is whether it's right to use it for entertainment, as I was talking about earlier, having a love relationship. Not just sex, but a love relationship as a commodity.
Yes.
That seems to me there must be something wrong there. That's the case.
Well, I think you're right, and many shows such as Love Island does seem to be gathering momentum, and many people believe that actually it's got many years to go. But of course, each time that they look at the format, they always try and go that one step further. But it's not just about TV, is it? I mean, we're also seeing in other areas of society the questions around the exploitation of, say, for example, dating apps and many other things. Is it actually a good thing where you can just simply find someone at the click of a button? And that's another factor. But I did want to sort of bring something which is a slightly worrying trend. And maybe this is something, Clergyman Pete, as a clergyman, I just would like to sort of say, well, actually, when people are falling out of love, maybe this is actually the way forward. Now, the best way, of course, to do this is in the form of a poem. And we'll get your thoughts. So this is a little poem called Married or Marred. Finally, I've fallen in love with myself. After many years sat on the shelf, I'll go to church and stand on my own side and be in harmony as groom and bride. So do I take me or myself for I wonder what's the best reply. Within oneself it's time to stand and sigh, then promise to be faithful until I die. The wedding ceremony will be truly grand, and on down the aisle I'll go hand in hand. Plenty of selfies that are optimistic, nothing could be so narcissistic. On the honeymoon I'll take the big bridal suite and flirt with the housemaid and start to cheat. But if I'm in two minds about the whole affair, I'll book another room and sleep elsewhere. Married to oneself makes it hard to intermingle, especially when everyone thinks that I'm single. So if disharmony is just a matter of course, I'll simply file for a quick divorce. Yes, Clergyman Pete, there is a trend where people are actually starting to marry oneself. Yes, now let me give you an example. I'm not making it up. Okay. So a woman by the name of Linda Doctor took to a beachside ceremony and actually went through the service of marrying herself. And she did this with the idea of special robes and garments and ceremonies. And even in this petal-strewn aisle that set the scene, clutching a bouquet, and held up a handheld mirror in front of herself and actually gave commitments and vows to herself. She'd fallen out of love, basically, after some rather unfortunate relationships. So, clergyman Pete, I'm trying to put you in the situation here. If one of your parishioners came to you and said, excuse me, I wish to marry myself, what's your response?
Well, it would be short and pithy. I mean, I think, yes, obviously that's nonsense. Well,
great business. Let those singletons out there.
Yeah, let me just comment a couple things. One is marriage. Strictly, marriage is in Britain, British law, it is only a marriage once it has been consummated. So a sexual act must occur.
Just leave a lot to the imagination.
How do these single people? I don't know what they do to consummate marriage, but the other thing is, I do like the idea of being able to divorce yourself.
Yes.
I mean, maybe, that's the one problem with my life, that Peter Cooper bloke. If only I could divorce him and get rid of him, life would be so much better. Anyway,
exactly.
But just straying away from that, actually, I didn't mean that, Pete, by the way. I think you're wonderful. But my opinion of this is, look, this won't be too much, a long little discourse, but it's not a diversion, is that what I'm saying? I am going to say something that will seem maybe these days as though it's slightly irrelevant, but I say these days because it didn't used to be, and that is, let's imagine a situation where you're a child, an older child, maybe in your teens, and you hear about your parents, early teens. That's the situation, gentle listener. Mark, if you're imagining this,
I'm imagining
right,
myself.
and you overhear your parents talking about when they were younger, when they were first getting together before they were married, and they start talking about, oh yes, and your parents caught us, going too far. You think, what? And you feel very uncomfortable. You don't like to think of your parents being like, it's just uncomfortable. You don't want to hear it, and you certainly don't want to hear, maybe about your father and mother having had other relationships before they, you just feel uncomfortable. And
it's disconcerting on a number of levels.
But you don't. Yeah, so now let's just fast forward.
I don't know where you're going with this.
So this couple who get married, say they do get married. Well, no, they don't just have to imagine it. It's on. It's probably on loads of video devices around the world. Yeah. Exactly what their parents got up to before they had them, and so so something has gone wrong. So let's go back to the children. I'll say this is where it all started to go wrong, and I was the same in this misconception. I thought no, that can't be true, and it's this. It's what is actually the orthodox, down through the ages, has always been believed, the Christian view of marriage. And the Christian view of marriage is, I think it is that it's for love, it's to help each other, because men and women are complementary, to have a helpmate, as it's sometimes translated from the Genesis account of God ordaining marriage. But it's also, now this phrase has been translated in different ways, very pithily sometimes. God says to humans, go forth and multiply. And that particular phrase just says it already. It says what marriage is fundamentally for. It's for children. It's not to say, of course, that those people who can't have children are not truly married, or for whatever reason, maybe they're too old, or there's circumstances where they can't. But that marriage is the general goal. Children are the general goal of marriage, is what I'm talking about. And therefore, if you look at society, where does marriage and love, where does love come in? Well, love, in general, then in that sort of situation, right? It's about children, so we've got to have a safe environment for the children. So we've got to have enough income for them. We've got to have their family around to look after them. So we need to have the families coming together. Then they produce the children. The couples are within a family situation. And marriage was always about that. A wife going and joining another family was usually the way it was done, sometimes the other way around. And the aim was to be children. Therefore, love between the man and woman often came after the marriage. They weren't in love before, they fell in love afterwards. And so this idea of searching out for your romantic partner and then marrying them has got it all back to front, it seems. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't choose. Say, for example, you have two families coming together. It doesn't mean they say who you're going to marry, but
No.
it does limit. It might limit the number of people you can choose from. That's what I'm saying, because they have to be people who would fit into that the families can come together. But all those considerations are out the window if it's just who you fancy on a TV show.
Oh, yes.
So it's not just a little bit wrong, or they might do something naughty. It's completely wrong in its whole outlook. And the whole pretense, I see it as a society, of caring for children, there's so much abuse of children, is just a nonsense. It's a lie when you think that what would really make children safe is if we stopped the way of doing marriage that we have now, stop making it more and more impersonal, making it like a commodity, as in Love Island, but instead got back to families coming together, and then this ensuring the fact that families are coming together, that the couple will stay together, that their love will develop. They've got a chance for it to develop over time because they know it's going to be for life. They can't really, unless there's some sort of abuse or violence, they can't really split apart because there's all that support network of the families. Not that they can't, physically can't, but they won't want to because it's all part of a package. And the children are therefore looked after. They're safe. People can, if there's abuse happening, it's immediately spotted because there's so many other people involved in bringing them up. If you really cared for the children, there would be a big move. If people really cared for the children, there'd be a big move to move society in that direction and changing the whole way we look at marriage to be one where it's about the children and that the man and the woman grow to love each other within the marriage. And then, well, I suppose the first thing we should do is ditch stupid shows like this, which I have no intention of watching.
I was going to say, Clergyman Pete, I mean, I know that you've nearly completed your application for the next show, but
Yes.
What would your advice be? Perhaps I'll tear it up for you before you stick your stamp on the envelope. But I mean, what would your advice be to potential contestants who might be thinking about putting themselves under the media lens next time round?
Don't be an idiot; it'll ruin your life. And anyway, the whole thing is immoral. But let's just, Mark and Pete, we've looked at that's I believe, the correct religious and political view. Please comment below. We love your comments. Whether you're watching on YouTube or on Spreaker, the two most common places people watch, just leave a comment to let us know what you think. Whether you agree with me or you're wrong. I mean, whether you agree with me or you disagree with me. But what about the business point of view, Mark? Well, I mean, this seems like it's a business winner.
Clearly, the from a business perspective, I can see the reason that people are doing it. I mean, look, they're really right up against the edge here in sort of crossing the line on moral grounds. But as we've seen with the public 2,500 nearly, and actually probably even growing now, of complaints to Ofcom, to me says something that actually the general public actually do have an issue with this type of show. I don't think it will stop it. I think that clearly a lot of the producers think they've got a great formula. And unfortunately for those people who are a little bit hoodwinked, thinking that, hey, this is a great way to either make money, make friends, and perhaps and foolishly think that they can fall in love, is the right way to go? No, it isn't. I think it does send out the wrong signal. Some people may say, hey, look, it's just a bit of fun. Possibly. But I think when it's done in that controlled format to such an extent where you're exploiting people's emotions, maybe not. Now, here's a conclusion, listeners, done in the fine traditional fashion here with an end poem. So, falling in love. If you've been clumsy and fallen in love, perhaps it was someone who gave you a shove. Going head over heels into the arms of affection could just be the result of an emotional rejection. When you get that unusual feeling, your feet tremble and can send you reeling. Stumbling and staggering and being uneasy can be disconcerting and make you quite queasy. If it's the wrong person you admire and adore, you will soon look foolish and fall flat on the floor. So finding that special someone who is stable and ready means you've taken the right steps and you're at last going steady. So Listeners, join us next time for more colourful conversations on this and many other subjects with Clergyman Pete and Businessman Mark.